participation through the pandemic.
And my trusty sidekick, Karen Ford, is going to run the PowerPoint. And while she's getting that ready, we had originally reached out to Karen Cloud, who's the volunteer coordinator with the Dade Battlefield Society, and asked her whether she could put together a presentation for us on her volunteer group, her folks, her kids, and kind of what they did during the pandemic. So what have they been up to for the last 18 months? So Karen put this together, and I've been through it, looked at it a couple of times, so bear with me though, please. But this is Karen Cloud's presentation on finding alternative volunteer opportunities for 2021. Go ahead, Karen. Okay, dealing with change, as we all have over the last couple of years, and dealing with change in our lives and everything we do. The Dade Battlefield has a World War II reenactment event every year. And as it turns out, because of the pandemic, the 2020 event was the volunteer group, Karen Cloud's kids, as I'll call them, was their last glimpse at normal from a volunteer perspective for the society. After the World War II event in March of 2020, the park was closed for all future events. And like most groups, the summer of 2020 was a challenge, to say the least. So as you'll see from this picture, I think this is the last picture in this presentation of 30 slides where the kids don't have face masks on. Go ahead, Karen. Okay. They started back as volunteer in June of 2020, wearing masks and social distancing. As you can see, the Dade's youth, Karen's kids, met 4 times to work on multiple projects with the hope, as she emphasizes, that the park would be able to reopen and resume events by the fall. And little did they know, little did we know, that this would be an ongoing event. Go ahead. In preparation for that fall reopening, though, Dade's youth kids started stuffing dolls and planning for future 2020 events. And I'm sure that all those kids have very happy faces behind those masks. The kids made grapevine wreaths. Go ahead. All in the hope that events would soon return to the park. And I think it's so cool to see these kids, except back up for a second. Except for that poor young lady that on the left of the screen who seems to have a whole lot of holes in her jeans. I feel sorry for her. Go ahead, Karen. Okay, so Karen spent time teaching new recruits and giving a refresher course to the rest of her volunteers on protocols and what the Dade Battlefield stands for and what it represents. Go ahead, Karen. And as always, continuing to enhance the knowledge about our Florida history. And you can see the kids all social distance as they're learning. Go ahead, Karen. They continue to learn new crafts that they can make and be able to put into the Dade Battlefield Museum gift shop. Go ahead. And for most of our work days, and this is the most important part of the day for Mike Pelosi, we always enjoyed a picnic lunch. And I don't see a whole lot of food on that, but I'm sure the food's coming. Go ahead, Karen. Yet who knew in 2020, June 2020, that COVID would still be with us and for so long? Go ahead. As the COVID numbers were rising by the end of June, Karen's kids and Karen decided to stop our group volunteer work by early July. However, together the kids had logged 130 hours in those 4 work days that they were working and volunteering. Go ahead, Karen. Then in September 2020, we began a new focus. Early in 2020, we had planned on participating with Love's Truck Stop just down the street in Bushnell, in their annual fundraising project to support the Children's Miracle Network. A car wash, pumping gas for tips, and other such events were all organized and ready to go for the entire month of September. Then volunteer life as we knew it once again came to a screeching halt. Go ahead. But as Karen would always say, when one door closes, find a window. And Dade's youth went to plan B. And if there's one thing I know about Karen, she's always got at least one additional plan, alternate plan in her back pocket. So what they did is they looked for projects that can be done at home, like making get well cards. Encourage all our other clubs and groups at SSHC, which is South Sumter High School, to join us and raise dollars for the fund. And then make it a competition is what they decided to do. And so they made a competition with prizes, thanks to Arby's, for the class that could collect the most money. Go ahead, Karen. Because, again, as Karen has said many times, it's by giving of ourselves that we truly give. By the end of September, over 250 Get Well cards have been made for the children at Shands Hospital. They collected change to make a change. Collect change to make a change was their theme. Campaign raised over $700, and it was donated to the fund. And Dade's youth, Karen's kids, added 24 more hours in September. Not bad making cards at home. Right, Karen? Okay, so Coach Wiesenet's Raider time class earned they got the #1 prize for the most time contributed and participated in the most money raised. Go ahead, Karen. So the top Raider time classes. #1 was the coach. #2 was Mr. Starnes' class. Mr. Sargent's, Mr. Layden's, and Mrs. Parks all contributed. And each students in each of the class that went above and beyond helping to earn a certificate of appreciation. So everybody that participated got recognized. Go ahead, Karen. Okay. And interestingly enough, and Karen Cloud wanted to make note of this, that 9 of the 15 high school recipients to get certificates were Dade youth kids. They were Karen's kids. So everybody got a certificate. In October, Karen's kids made treats for their emergency management workers, practicing social distancing and always wearing their masks. And you can see them making cookies there to start with. Go ahead, Karen. Students met before school to deliver the baked goods to our hometown heroes, here with the Sumter County Emergency Management Group. Go ahead, Karen. Learning how to adapt to make crafts that were safe was certainly a life lesson. Something we never thought we would do, but Karen's kids adapted and continued to generate volunteer hours even during the pandemic. Go ahead, Karen. They made bookmarks for Osprey Point residents. And as part of that, they laminated the bookmarks that were given to the residents, those often isolated during the pandemic. Dade's youth continued to support other community events. When Langley Health decided to continue their annual toy drive, which is called the Laura Vickers event in 2020, it became a drive-through opportunity for the kids to get gifts and stay safe. Karen's kids also donated toys and encouraged others. Boxes of assorted gifts were collected and wrapped, and a few of Karen's kids helped one day after school to wrap these gifts, label them by age, and then deliver them to LHS to be handed out during the toy donation drive. Go ahead. Dade's youth and Dade Battlefield have supported this event for many years. Something like a pandemic was definitely not going to stop them. They just changed how they contributed time. So, life lessons. September through December, we found new ways to volunteer while staying safe. Our kids made get well cards, baked items for EMS heroes, collected toys, made laminated bookmarks. Our kids found that they could still make a difference in their community, even with a face mask on. A total of 59 hours were added to the group's state hours, and the knowledge that our kids, over 100 kids in the hospital in Shands, knew someone cared for them with the card that they received, as well as our local EMS and residents who received bookmarks at Osprey Point. Go ahead, Karen. Most important life lesson of the last 2 years from Karen is our kids never gave up. There was always a plan A and there was always a plan B, and they continued on until we got our projects accomplished. Go ahead, Karen. In January 2021, Dade's youth adopted State Road 40, or a segment of State Road 40, to be Adopt a Highway. And you can see that those signs also include, or that sign also includes the name of the Battlefield Society. And you can see just on the right side is the Sumter crew out there picking up trash also. Go ahead, Karen. It was a great way to earn hours, and you can see all the students once again contributing time and building hours, volunteer hours, Karen, while supporting our community. Go ahead. And staying safe, not only with masks, but with vests and everything else it takes to be safe along the highway. So since January, the group has held 3 trash pickups along their adopted byway, and they've collected over 40 bags of trash along that segment. Go ahead. By April 2021, we began participating in Saturday history lessons from our reenactors. Go ahead. Again, it was a great way to earn volunteer hours while enhancing our knowledge of the park and our community's history. Go ahead. And in fact, one of Karen's kids was actually recruited. Ethan, a new DY member, Karen's kids member, began attending the weekly programs this year, and he even asked if he could become more involved. And there you see a couple of the reenactors trying to teach him the ropes. Go ahead. You will see Ethan as a new reenactor this coming year. He's going to earn volunteer hours and continue the rich tradition of the Dade battlefield and the society. These students, as we've talked many times, these students are the future. Go ahead. A new Dade youth member, David, will be earning his hours for Bright Futures by mowing the parks and the green areas at the battlefield this summer. Go ahead. So the future does look bright. The kids love what they do. They're learning what they do. They're getting credit through Bright Futures, and they're learning about their community. Dade's youth are now meeting again every Wednesday this summer. They work on helping with upcoming park events. Go ahead. The summer's busy. Camps, independent work, trash pickups for Adopted Highway, car wash, planning for fall events, and a field trips. Some will be helping with the Nature Day camp in July. Others are working independently, assisting with cleanup, washing windows, removal of exotics in the park, an array of tasks needed for our park to make it continue to look good. And of course, planning for upcoming events. Go ahead, Karen. You'll find Dade youth at many of Dade's park events. The Patriotic Day family event in July, the Haunted event in October, Florida Heritage Day in November, Christmas on the Florida frontier in December, and the big reenactment, Dade's Battle, that is in the early part of January every year. And our youth are there. Go ahead, Karen. So, lessons learned from 2020. You can always find things to do, always find alternatives, but you got to be flexible. Even in tough times, you can make a difference. The cards that they sent to the kids at Shands is a perfect example. Be the change, make someone's life better is one of Karen's mottos that I always hear from her. Be the change, make someone's life better. Do what you can. We all have unique and special talents. Respect each other's and those talents and work as a team. Go ahead, Karen. And finally, Dade's youth survives and thrives again, those kids all have face masks on them, but guaranteed every one of them's got a smile underneath their mask. Go ahead. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to Karen Cloud and the Dade Battlefield Society and the youth of the community.
Thank
She
you,
made
Mike.
that
This
easy.
is a great, great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, made that easy that she